morning, everybody. My name is Joanna Stone. I'm the editorial director of the Retail AI Council, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Cathy Hotka. She's the host, founder, and CEO of the Retail Insiders Party. This event is legendary. The phrase, if you know, has never been more fitting. Cathy has crafted a gathering that not just the highlight of the NRF show, but a must-attend event for the retail industry's top leaders. For those of you who are not familiar, the NRF show takes place January 11th through the 14th in New York City. It's the largest retail trade show in the industry. But Cathy's event, happening Sunday, January 12th, the invite-only, secretive, and incredibly exclusive event, is the one we're talking about today. So let's start. Cathy, first of all, welcome. And my first question really is around the idea of come one, come all. And your event is not really kind of fitting that theory. So my first question is, how do you choose who makes the guest list? And why is keeping it exclusive so important to you?
So good morning, and thank you for having me. The whole point of the event is to bring together the senior most retail leaders who are really making a difference in the industry, to give them an opportunity to network with each other, get caught up on companies where they used to work, and compare notes with fellow participants on what's really going to change the industry during the coming year. So that's why, in addition to hundreds of C-levels, we've also got the top analysts in the industry because they can provide needed feedback and perspective.
Got it. Perfect. With an event so sought after, what do you think makes it the talk of the NRF show year after year?
It's the people. They come for each other. That's the draw, the opportunity to see old friends, to get caught up, to meet the up-and-comers who are really making a difference. That's what makes this event so important.
Well, the one thing that's so fascinating to me is that the location is revealed the day of the event, which is very Jay-Z and Beyonce wedding style, which I love an exclusive event. I love a secret. How do you, first of all, how did you decide to do that? Why did you decide to do that? And then how do you let everybody know where to go?
The folks who are coming get a note from me a few days before. But I do this because if I put the location out there, all kinds of people will simply arrive. There are some people who think that this is an NRF event and that it has to do with the show. So if they've got a show name tag, they can come to the Retail Insiders Party, and that's not the case. So we do keep, I even keep it secret from the sponsors. They don't know where it is either.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, listen, we're still talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce's wedding, so it means something, right? So now the other thing, let's go back and do another celeb name drop. Tom Cruise dropped in Mission Impossible in the Vault, and I was in sales the majority of my life. So I can imagine that there are a lot of people who may show up and say, look, please let me in. I've got to talk to the people in this room. These are all of the clients that I want for the next year. And I guarantee if I was selling in this space, I would be begging you. So how do you manage that?
Oh, people have been really inventive. They'll show up and say that they are a sponsor, even though they're not.
Oh,
We have to protect the name tags because would-be crashers used to come in, pick up a name tag, put it on, and say, "My name is, whatever," and it is obviously
ouch.
isn't. So no, we need our sponsors are very jealous of the time that they have with participants, and frankly, they do a lot of work to make sure that this event is great. So they're not happy if somebody shows up who hasn't done the work and wants to just come in and hang out with our VIPs.
And do you turn people away yourself or do you hire security?
Uh, Both,
Oh, really? Good
both.
for
And
you.
I'm sorry I have to do that, but this party has been around for 19 years. So people know that it's going to happen and they have an opportunity to sponsor. And if they choose not to, they can't come in.
So how do you get an invite?
You are a very senior person.
Hmm.
The invitation list is C-levels, SVPs, VPs from all different disciplines in retail. So we started off as an IT party. Increasingly over time, that also became the party for digital leaders, for CMOs. And as IT people move ahead in their professions, we now have a lot of COOs and CEOs as well. We'll have those titles at this event too.
Perfect. I mean, it's great, even if I'm a CEO of a large retailer and I don't need technology right this second, it would be great for me to go because I think that I would see what everybody else is doing. That's a really big thing. This is such a competitive industry in a sense that it makes sense that that's change is happening. I'm curious, as the event brings together these big names in retail, technology, transformation, all those goodies, how does the party reflect the pulse of the industry, and what trends do you see shaping conversations moving forward?
Companies don't want to make technology purchases without an understanding that what they're about to spend on is important. So the idea of getting people together and creating consensus around priorities is important. So they want to hear what their uh, competitors are
Mhm.
doing. They want to find out what the hot technologies are. So, there's always there are always technologies that are hot that people are talking about, but what's really hot? What is
Yeah.
actually being implemented? And clearly AI is still at the top of the list. It was the top of the list 3 years ago, and it's still at the top of the list.
I can imagine. Absolutely. Now, look, we've talked a little bit about sponsors, but we didn't really get into detail. So let's do that. They play a big role in the event. I'd like to know, how do you select them? What kinds of cutting edge technologies do you showcase? What do you think you're going to see this year? And what did I get? So if I'm a sponsor, how did I get to you? How did you choose me? And then what happens at the event for me?
Sponsors bring new ideas and great new options. So we have hardware vendors, we have software vendors, we have consulting companies. So a variety of different viewpoints to bring to the table, and they get great visibility while they're there. There's a PowerPoint loop that runs throughout the event,
Oh.
bragging about our sponsors. So each sponsor gets 4 slides and they can introduce their key leaders. They can talk about what technologies they'll be showing. So our retailers get a sneak preview of what's going on in the show floor.
That's a really good point. I've been in trade shows and have sponsored trade shows and done all kinds of things. And you're on a floor with thousands of other competitors. You're trying to grab the people out of the aisle. We've all been there and done that, right? It seems to me that the party sort of hones in that massive trade show, brings everybody that you kind of really want to talk to one place. Do I have that right?
You do. And, the other thing to think about is retailers are under a huge amount of pressure at the show because everyone wants to talk to them.
Yeah.
So they have been known not only to turn their badge around backwards, but they've also been known to wear an
Yeah.
IBM badge while they're on the show floor.
Absolutely. I remember, listen, I used to stock Whole Foods. I understand. I totally get it. So this is happening in all retail across all disciplines. So now if I'm in this room in your room at your party, I can see who they really are. I can talk to the people I really want to talk to. I mean, one conversation with one sponsor and one retailer could really change their 2025, it sounds like.
Yeah, the key part about being in the room is that anyone that you see in the room is important. So even if you don't get a chance to connect with them on the at the party, when
Mhm.
you see them on the show floor, feel perfectly
Ah,
good with walking up and saying hi and introducing yourself.
I saw you at the Retail Insiders Party. That's
Exactly.
it's a great point. Very good point. I forgot about that turning the badge around. You're absolutely right. They would go undercover. I mean, sales. Gotta love it. Okay, now since its inception, how's the party evolved? How does it keep pace with, because retail changes so much. We've done Amazon interviews this year. We've done all kinds of webinars. I can't believe when I'm seeing some of these things. How do you keep up? How's it kept pace?
The main thing is to get the right sponsors in there
Oh,
and to get the right retailers in there. So when the party was instituted in 2006, IT was run by the IT people. The CIO was in charge and his or her direct reports, and that's how IT was done. These days, with the democratization of IT, Uh, Other people are very important to the way IT is adopted within the company and becomes part of the culture. So that's why we have so many different influences now. Uh, so different kinds of sponsors and different roles for our participants. It's no longer just an IT party because that's the way it rolls now.
Oh, that's a really good point. Very, thank you. Thank you for kind of sharing that. How did you get this started? I didn't ask you that in the beginning, but I'm curious. How did this, did you just think, I want to put all these really important people in a room? Or was it just that the show was so big and you weren't getting to the right people and you thought, oh, I know I'll create something they'll really want to come to?
I watched people at the show. I'd walk around with a CIO and see that person attempt to connect with other CIOs, but it got so busy that they'd pass in the hallway and go, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was it.
Yeah.
So the idea was to create a safe space where very senior level people could see each other and have a great conversation. So the very first party I set for the W New York, which has very small meeting rooms.
Yes.
We had 40 RSVPs, and I thought, well, great. That means we'll have 20 participants, which is fine. 20 C levels is good. We had 80. They
Oh,
just kept getting off the elevator. And that's when I knew that this was going to have legs.
well, good for you. So how many people generally, I mean, I'm sure every year it's different. How many people generally attend?
Yes, COVID threw us for a loop. We lost a year. But we'll have several hundred C levels and SVPs, which gives you enough variety in the room that different kinds of companies can talk to one another. And actually, that's important. We've got very large companies sending representatives, but they are equally interested in talking to representatives of smaller companies
Mhm.
because those smaller companies are agile and they have more of an ability to start something new and just see if it works. So the larger company, smaller company conversations are very important.
Oh, that's a really good point. And that brings me to my next question. What kind of names can you drop? I mean, I dropped Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Tom Cruise. Who do you have? Who do you think will be there?
Uh, we have delegations from a lot of companies. We've got folks from Target coming, Tractor Supply, Abercrombie and Fitch, Gap.
Mm,
We have the IT leadership team at Gap. So loads of very interesting people, and they all come because they want to see each other and
of
find out
course.
what they're doing.
That's another really clear point, and that is that these people probably come year after year. Do I understand that correctly? Okay.
They do.
So this is their chance to connect too.
They want to see the people they used to work with. They also want to see the people they might be working with in the future.
Right.
Um, and it's a great venue for the formers. So I invite people who may have lost a position this year, but who
Mhm.
will have one next year. We usually have the top headhunters in the business as well. So that whole sort of C-level ecosystem is great for everyone.
I love that idea. Yeah. And where else are you going I mean, you're going to have to search the show floor to look for your old friends or your old connections. Yeah, it sounds like a home run to me. So for those lucky enough to attend for the first time, what's your top advice to provide them some insight into what to expect?
Wear comfortable shoes.
Hmm.
Because you're not going to want to
Yeah.
sit down and isolate. You're going to want to circulate and see everyone. The other thing I'd recommend to people is just walk up and say hi. Everyone has a 4 by 3 inch name tag that has the name of the company in huge letters and then the person's name underneath. Walk up to people, put your hands out, introduce yourself, and have a great conversation.
Oh, that's great advice. It's tough to do. I mean, I really feel for people who are shy. I'm not one of those people, but I understand that that's tough. And I love the name badge idea because you really can say, you mentioned Target, one of my favorite. I'm there almost every week. That's an easy opening line that I would probably use. Now tell me, I know it's a secret. I know you can't say too much about the space, but I do know it's in Times Square. I don't think I think that's been released. Can you tell us any more about the event location or what to expect once I get there?
So yes, we are smack in the middle of Times Square. No one's going to have to take a cab to get there. No one's going to have to take a cab to get home. And we have an entire floor of a
Oh,
hotel. We
okay.
need we need that space because we have staff that are stuffing our famous swag bag. Sponsors give
Ah,
us things that they want to hand off to retailers, and these are great items like really nice pens,
yeah. I love
flash
swag.
drives, phone chargers, things that people want. So I don't know why more people don't do the swag bag, but we always do. And that's another great reason to come and to stay until the end.
And that's what you do at the end. You share the bag and then they can take off with that. Okay. And there's cocktails, I assume, and some light food.
Yes, we have premium cocktails. We're famous for that, and we have people walking around the room with trays of crab cakes and other little yummies to eat.
Kathy, remind us what time it starts and ends.
We ask our sponsors to be there at 8:30 so that they can get into the room and, get something to drink before the retailers show up. Retailers are invited for 9 o'clock, and believe me, PM, of course, believe me, they will all show up at the same moment.
Oh, of course. Of course they would have to, right? Everybody's storing charges in at once. And it goes till about 11. Is that correct?
It goes until 11:30.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right. Well, Kathy, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you feel like we should still talk about?
No, ma'am, I think we're in good shape.
Okay, well, thank you, members. It's been a pleasure talking with Kathy today. We appreciate the opportunity to bring you this info. If you're lucky enough to get an invite to this party, we'd love to hear your feedback of parties you've been to before or anything else that you can share with us. On behalf of the Retail AI Council, Kathy, I just want to thank you for your time today, and maybe someday I'll be lucky enough to get an invite. Thank you all.
Thanks, Joanna.